Okay, I'm going to attach the other sleeve. This is the dress, this is the sleeve, of course. And I need to put right sides together. This is scuba knit fabric, so it's kind of hard to decide which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. But I start with the shoulder and I put a pin there, and then I work myself down all the way to the end of the armhole on one side, go back to the shoulder, and go to the end of the armhole on the other side, pinning it. Okay, now I have placed it under the machine, and I will begin to sew the sleeve. All the way down until I get to the other, from one armhole to the other side, okay? Okay, now that both of the sleeves are on, I want to do the neckline. I've got to make a casing for the neckline because I'm going to be placing elastic all around the neckline. This is the neck here, this opening right here, okay? So this elastic is what's going to go inside of the casing, and it's going to draw all the fabric in. So I need to make a casing. I'm going to pin it all the way around. You could lay your elastic there just to double check. I've done this a ton of times, so I kind of can eyeball it. This is 1/4 of an inch elastic, so I will pin this all the way around and then sew it. Okay, make sure that you leave an opening so you can run your elastic through. I always put like a couple of pins so I'll know where I need to stop. So I got my 2 pins where I need it to stop. I'll take those out and I'll run the elastic through. Okay, now I'm running my elastic through. I always put an open pin at the end. I don't really attach it to anything unless I have to later. I just kind of leave it open at that end. And you're just gonna push, and then you're gonna pull the fabric. Push it through the hole and pull the fabric. Okay, you just want to keep on pulling and pushing until you get the elastic out the other end. And I did pin this. I did have to pin that. So now I will take it and sew it together. Zigzag stitch, back stitch. Okay. And then you're just going to stitch this opening closed. Just go ahead and sew that closed. Okay, that's your neckline that you just did. So you just kind of want to do it like this to kind of even all the fabric out all the way around, okay? So now you want to close up the arm and the side. So underneath the arm all the way down to the bottom hem of shirt, dress, or whatever. I am doing a dress, but this is the same pattern I use for the tops that I do, the gathered tops. I just made this one longer in order to make it into a dress. So I normally pin right underneath the arm, kind of straighten this out and go down to the wrist. and pin from the wrist all the way underneath the arm and go back to underneath the arm, and then I straighten the top or dress and I pin all of that from the hem all the way to underneath the arm. After you get it all pinned, then you want to sew where you place the pins, okay? Okay, place it at the wrist, put the needle down and start sewing, back stitch. And I'm going to take that all the way down to the hem. And to the hem, you want to make sure that you back stitch. And then you're going to do the same thing to the other side. You will sew the sleeve and the side seam together, just like you just did that. So pin it, sew it. Okay, now I'm going to place the elastic on here, put it on zigzag stitch, put it on 1.5, I'm just going to pin it in place right there, slide this over, slide that over there. Actually, I don't want it right there. I want it right there. Okay. So to get started, before you start pulling on it, you want to make sure that you back stitch. It's attached to. So the last thing to do is to put the hem, and I'm just going to put a hem in my dress, but you can do a casing and put elastic at the bottom of your dress or shirt, whichever one that you're doing, but I'm not going to put elastic at the bottom of mine. I'm just going to put the hem, okay? So if you're doing the elastic, make sure you leave an opening for your elastic to go through. Okay, to do the hem, this is scuba, so it's not going to fray. You could just fold it over once and put your hem. But if it's fabric that's going to fray, you want to make sure that you fold it twice. So do about 1/2 of an inch and then about an inch fold. If you're just doing the hem, if you're doing a casing, you do it. You do the casing about 1 inch. That's about how wide the elastic is that I have here. So you do that casing big enough for that. Make sure you leave an opening if you're making a casing. Make sure you leave an opening.